What's up, everybody? This is Whiskey in the Six. I'm Rob. Have the honor of having Chris from Shelter Point here in studio because he's here on Whiskey Business.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's fantastic to be here.
Whiskey Global this weekend. We'll be attending as well this evening. How did first night go?
First night was great. It was great to be able to actually pour some of our whiskey for people here. It's my first time in Toronto, and also really pleased that Shelter Point's here as well. And introducing people to a true, authentic Canadian-made single malt was a pleasure. Really nice.
Awesome. The bottles we have in front of us have just entered the LCBO.
Yes, that's correct.
So this is big for Shelter Point because it's been a long time coming, right, to get into the LCBO.
Yeah, I think probably it's been a labour of love for the last 2.5, 3 years to try and get it into LCBO. And they're a massive organisation. They have a huge amount of stores, and they have very high standards for what they're looking to approve and put on the shelf. So for us to finally get there and be present is phenomenal. And certainly the reaction from people last night is I hope it's going to sell well.
Yeah, and what makes me very happy as a whiskey geek is that this bottle checks all the boxes. It's 46%, non-chill filtered, no added color. It's at a very reasonable price. And it's really the only thing in its category at the LCBO at the moment. And what I mean by that is you don't have a lot of Canadian single malts at the LCBO in general. And then the fact that this checks all the boxes, it's kind of, I think, doing it like leading the way for other brands to start doing the same thing, hopefully, for Canada as a whole.
I would hope so. I mean, I think the approach we take to making whiskey is representative of a lot of small distilleries across Canada, really taking care in the process, taking care in the end product, making sure it's delivering for people who just enjoy drinking good whiskey. And to be able to start a process where more distilleries like ourselves are getting into the LCBO would be amazing. It's taken a lot of work, so we're delighted to be there, and if we can ease the path for other people, then that'd be fantastic. That'd be really good.
Absolutely. Well, let's give this a try.
Sure.
They'll find it at the LCBO with this tag on it, right? Correct?
That's right, yeah. So we wanted to help give people a chance to read a little bit about it. I think in some LCBOs it's locked up in the glass cabinet, so the neck tag just helps people to read a little bit about it. If you can't pick up the bottle and turn it around, which is my preferred way of investigating a whiskey, at least you can take a look through the glass and read a little more about it. So it's a nice thing to kind of provide a bit more visibility.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us about this whiskey. What's unique about it? What's the process? What is everything that these guys need to know?
For sure.
About
Okay.
this whiskey?
Well, Shelter Point Distillery. We've got a nice shot in the backdrop here. We are out on Vancouver Island in British Columbia. The farm that we are surrounded by grows a lot of our barley for us, and that farm is right on the coast. So not only are we sourcing a lot of our product locally, it's also benefiting from a really nice coastal influence, both in terms of the maturation, but also a little bit of the salt in the air gets into the fields and gets into the barley. So there's a nice kind of hint of salt in there. And then in terms of the distillery, it was purpose built as a distillery, so we haven't kind of shoehorned ourselves into an industrial space. So there's plenty of room for all the equipment. And as you can see from the image behind us, we've got two really nice copper pot stills. They were custom made for us in Scotland and shipped across, so we've got a really nice Scottish heart for what we do. Everything else is purely Canadian. And a few other little fun details is we do really long fermentations. So our standard fermentation time is 7 days. Now that's almost double what a lot of other distilleries do. That gives us a really long time for the yeast, one, to get through all of the sugars there and convert it all into alcohol, so we're as efficient as we possibly can be. But also there's a time for some secondary fermentation to come in there, build up a little bit more flavour, so that the wort that gets produced there is packed full of flavour, and then we can take as much of that through the distillation process, end up with a really nice, flavourful new mixed spirit.
Awesome. The stills. This is kind of sidebar, but they look like that would be an expensive endeavor to get across Europe to Canada.
It was expensive, and it was made more expensive by a little bit of naivety. So
Okay.
we've got a 5,000 litre wash still, a 4,000 litre spirit still. That big wash still is just 2 inches too wide to fit in a shipping container. So had we gone a little bit smaller or gone for a slightly different shape, then shipping would have been a lot cheaper. But that wasn't at the forefront of the process. The forefront was really how do we just get the flavor, get the style that we're looking for. So
Interesting.
yeah, all good things cost a bit of money, and the nice thing about those pot stills is they're going to last a good long time. So we should get the money back, and then hopefully then some as well. But they're beautiful. You've got a nice picture there. When the sunlight hits them, they glow beautifully, so they look good, which is a nice thing to have. But they also do a great job as well.
Yeah. This is a beautiful shot. We were looking for a great shot and saw the inside of the distillery. What better shot than that?
It's a bit of a hero shot with that sunlight shining in through the windows there. It's pretty pretty. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the nose, this is actually really, really nice. Lots of, I find, honey, light fruit notes, maybe some like apple.
Yeah, no, we're lucky. Again, as I said, the new make spirit that we have is fantastic. It's got a lot of fruitiness to it. So what goes into the barrel, it already has some good flavor to it. That time in the barrel, we're lucky enough again because we've got some space. We've got space to create what we call our continuous vatting system or a Solera system. So the barreling process, we've got lots of ex-bourbon. We've also got lots of finished barrels as well. So we've got some wine finish, there's some sherry finish, port finish. And so we can use that vatting system to add all those finishes into the mix as well. So it's a lot more than just a straight ex-bourbon. This one.
The vat itself, is that oak or is that?
It's not, it's stainless steel.
Okay, so so they have to be aged for a minimum of 3 years before added to the vat.
Minimum of 7 years. This
Minimum
is
of
a 7-year age statement. Some of those finished barrels, they're quite a bit older than that.
Nice.
So there's a good amount of depth there. The joy of an age statement always is it just gives you a hint of what's in there. So there's always room for a bit of depth.
Yeah, that's great information as well, because when you go to the LCBO, you're looking at price, you're looking at like what you want, and you can compare this age statement to pretty much any other world whiskey and get this one in particular, at a better price.
Yeah.
For the most part, right? So I think that says a lot about what you're bringing to the table at LCBO.
Yeah, and bringing a kind of just a different approach to whiskey making. I mean, there's a huge amount of history to Scotland. There's a lot of tradition in what they do. Mm-hmm. Starting in Canada, then the joy of the New World is you can look at tradition and take the bits you like from it, and then choose other ways of doing things, like that long fermentation time. We felt we could get more by letting that fermentation happen longer. Mm-hmm. Again, going down the process of vatting, using those multiple barrels to create a really deep, smooth flavor. Then we didn't have to worry about what did we used to do, because that wasn't there. So we've just got that ability to have a blank sheet and really go for it.
Yeah, awesome. So there's going to be a bit of background noise, as you can tell. Usually this is film. Our filming times are usually in the evening when the kids are in bed, but unfortunately we don't have that luxury today.
I appreciate you having me at all, Rob. It's good to be on this side of the camera and actually see it. So you don't want to know what's on the other side of that camera.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. We've known each other for a couple of years. How long have you been with Shelter Point now?
3.5 years now.
3.5 years. So we've known each other for 3.5 years now, and first time meeting in person, and that can be said about probably 90% of the people I've become friends with in the whiskey world. It's such a hard thing to do, because like we were talking about off camera, Canada is such a big country, so it's
huge, and events like the Whisky Global, that is the reason I'm in town, are fantastic, because it allows that gathering of of whiskey brands, whiskey enthusiasts to get together and a chance to chat. And a number of people last night were kind of, we've heard of you guys, finally delighted to be able to get a chance to try it. And so it's a great experience for everyone.
Absolutely. And then the good part about Whisky Global is they tried it now and they know they're going to like it. They can go pick it up at the LCBO.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it at majority of the locations, or?
It's in their specific whiskey shops.
Okay.
So certainly the best thing to do, I think, if you go onto the LCBO website, search for Shelter Point, and then you can do a store finder in there and then find the one that's the closest to you. They also give you a sense of what's in stock as well, so you can make sure it's going to be there before you go.
Absolutely. Yeah. I really like it. I think people are going to be really pleased. I think the price is great. What's being offered is great, and I'm looking forward to see success so that we can bring some other things from Shelter Point into.
Well, that was one of the questions I've been asked regularly since we made this announcement, since we've been able to have this here, is when are we going to get X, Y, and Z into Ontario too. And I wish it was our choice, because if it was, we'd have had more product here already. But yeah, we're hopeful that we can build on this and we can get products like the Ripple Rock, maybe like Smoke Point, and get them into Ontario too. But to begin with, this probably is our flagship. It definitely is the most accessible of our whiskies. Everyone who tried it last night, everyone who's tried it really likes it, really appreciates that it's a great easy drinking whiskey. It's great to introduce to friends who maybe are thinking about it, starting to get into single malts.
Absolutely.
And it's not for nothing, it's won double gold and won various other awards too. So
I was gonna say that, yeah.
We've done well with it.
Absolutely. So double gold, it's a 92 from is that Whiskey Advocate?
Yes.
Whiskey Advocate. So that's a great score as well. I mean, it checks all the boxes, guys. If you haven't already, when you see this, pick it up, because you will not be disappointed. Chris brought some other treats today as well.
Well, I had to say thank you to Rob for letting me come here on a Saturday afternoon as well. So I had to buy my way in the door.
There was no obligation, for the record. For the record. But you were very kind enough to bring the 10-year-old, which in a lot of ways is a local barley. You want to just quickly explain that one?
Yeah, just to give a little bit of history, Shelter Point is 14 years old now. So we have had a 10-year-old single malt on the shelf for a few years, and we actually have a 12-year-old with limited availability too. This 10-year-old though is a single grain, and the reason, as kind of Rob says, it's a local barley is that this 10-year-old estate whiskey is made entirely with barley that's grown on the farm at Shelter Point. So we're surrounded by the farm. It grows a lot of our barley for us. It doesn't always grow enough for everything we need. So whiskies like the classic, we are bringing in other barley from elsewhere in BC. For this one, then it really is an estate grown whiskey. It's made entirely with barley from the farm. The water source is the aquifer beneath our distillery, which we use for all of our whiskies, but particularly for this one, to be able to say that everything in it, aside from the yeast, has come from within 1 kilometer radius of the distillery building.
That's cool.
It's a pretty rare thing to be able to say. We're super excited about it, and the really nice thing is that by the stage we were distilling this, we were really getting into it, so there's a good amount of quality. So to have a 10-year-old that's easily available, regularly available on the shelf, is really nice. I say that's within BC.
Yeah.
We'll have a word with the LCBO, see if we can get out here too, but for the time
Eventually.
being, it's a BC only one.
And what's the cost of this one in BC?
That one's 95.
95.
95 bucks. So yeah, a little bit more, but it's a 10-year-old age statement.
Yeah.
It's a pretty nice drinking whiskey.
And it's a local barley.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you said local, single grain. For those of you that don't know, you want to just quickly explain
Sure.
why that's.
Yeah, so it's 100% barley, but it's unmalted barley. Shelter Point doesn't have a malting floor on site, so the grain that's grown on the farm gets sent away to be malted and it comes back to us. This being unmalted means it can come straight from the field, get stored, and then when we're ready to use it, it's on hand, ready to go. So unmalted also means that we do have to add in a little bit of enzymes to kick off the mash process, to do that conversion from the carbohydrates into the sugars. But apart from that, it's a pretty similar process. It's actually triple distilled, this one as well, so twice through the spirit still.
Okay, so very similar to the way an Irish whiskey would be made.
Yeah, it's in kind of broad stereotypical processes, then it's probably closer to an Irish, so it's a little bit lighter. For me, this has got a really nice sweetness on the nose. There's a nice floral note to it, as well as a kind of classic Shelter Point fruitiness. And what I love about this one is you get that real sense of the place. So I'm fortunate enough that I get to work at Shelter Point. My office is sat looking over those stills, and on a summer's day, as the barley's ripening in the field, then you get a really nice warm, slightly grainy smell coming through, and that comes across in this whiskey. And there's also a little buttery salty note just at the end on the aftertaste, which is reflective of a nice coastal environment that it's grown in as well.
Yeah, so you said the salt gets into the barley, so when distillation happens, obviously there might be remnants of it also into the aging process, right? So
absolutely.
The salt in the air would probably sink into the barrels, and then
yeah. So that crisp salty air, it's blowing in off the sea, and it's blowing through our warehouse doors. Now, generally we're in the warehouse most days, so those doors are wide open, so that circulation is coming through. So as the barrels are gently breathing, they're evaporating the little bit of angel share that's coming out. They're pulling in some of the other influences there, so that nice salty air's going into the barrels too.
And I love that you guys chose casks that can really highlight the distillery characteristic of this whiskey.
Yeah, no, the 10-year-old particularly is just nice ex-bourbon cask, but it's generally first used straight up from Kentucky, so they've still got a bit of life in them, so they are giving a bit of influence into the whiskey, but in a very subtle way, so you're allowing the nature of the grain of the distillation process to really come through.
Yeah, beautiful nose.
Thank you.
Palate's great too. And I see what you're saying about a lighter, just sweet, fruity, light on the palate, but not. There's still texture there, and there's still, you
absolutely,
know,
absolutely. It's
very,
not
very
hasn't
nice.
quite got the really rich mouthfeel that the single malt has. That for me, just going back to this one briefly, the way the flavour hangs around in your mouth, the aftertaste is really something with the classic.
Absolutely.
I like to call it the gift that keeps on giving, because you take a sip and that flavour is just in your mouth for a long time. There's a little bit less of that with the 10, but it's still got a good amount of mouthfeel going on.
Mm-hmm.
The flavour is there for a while, and it just brings a slightly lighter. It's more of a maybe a summertime whiskey. The 10-year-old has got
Yeah, I can see that.
summer vibes going on.
Yeah, it's a great whiskey to start a big whiskey tasting with as well, just because it's got those like nice subtle flavors that are not going to overwhelm the palate. It's not going to blow your palate for anything else.
Yeah,
I think it's great all around.
well, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's nice to be able to bring it out here. And
Yeah,
give
I
you a
appreciate
taste.
that you brought it. For those of you that haven't watched it just yet, Shelter Point has done very, very well in the single malt category of the Canadian Whiskey Rant Tournament. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'd like you guys to go check that out. Chris, is there anything else you'd like to share about the new whiskey that's landed in the LCBO, or anything else about Shelter Point that you'd like to share?
Just to say that I think one of the questions that came through last night was almost a question of does Canada make good single malts? And I obviously am biased, but the reaction from last night is that yes, we're up there. We are coming across and we're competing with, in terms of flavour and the style of whiskey, with a lot of the ones that are coming out of Scotland. And if you like a Scotch but you want something which is made here in Canada, then the Classic is a great option.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Classic is a great representation of you guys, and probably in the price point, the best representation for Canada at the moment at the LCBO, because unfortunately we do not have a whole lot to represent us. So I'm glad that you guys are the first to do that, because you're doing it in the right way. I wouldn't say the first. There's other Canadian whiskeys on the shelf, but they just don't do it in the way that Shelter Point's doing it.
Yeah, I think kind of the whiskey world is very broad. I think when people really get into it, they tend to gravitate towards a kind of style, a way of making whiskey, which is the kind of thing that we like to do. I mean, going back to the 46%, no added colour, no chill rotation, just good natural whiskey.
Exactly. And that's kind of what seems to be the appetite nowadays anyway, right? So
Yeah.
I'm glad that you guys are there and representing strongly. Thanks so much for joining me today. That was awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you taking time out of your day, and it's a joy to find them bits on this side of the camera.
Yeah, it's great to meet you in person, and we definitely need to do this more often, maybe next year at Whiskey Global when you come down again.
Absolutely, and if you're ever in the area in Vancouver Island, then you know where we are.
That's the goal. I keep trying to make plans for it. It'll happen eventually.
I should have brought the brochures for other places, little tourism brochures, so you could just leave them lying around.
That would have been, yeah. I need to just convince the wife, and then we're good. But
Right.
It's gonna happen. She would love to go as well. So it's gonna happen. It's a matter of when, not if.
Perfect. Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.